And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate, helping you win in any marketplace. That's always the goal of our show here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We want to educate, entertain, enlighten, but most importantly, engage so we can help you win.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
Save our hotline number in your phone. At some point, you're going to need it. 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-670-7372. That's our consumer advocate hotline number. And we want to make sure you're engaging with us. It's all about helping you in over 80 categories of consumer advocate advice and content here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And this segment is brought to you by Taps Restaurant over at the International Plaza Mall. If you haven't been there, you got to check them out. Really cool ambiance there as well, and excellent food. So it's Taps Restaurant located at the International Plaza on Bay Street. Burger Bar and Gastropub, 2223 Northwest Shore Boulevard. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. And Intelligent Talk Radio, I've got some intelligent folks here in studio with me today. Welcome back in studio, the lovely Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage.
It's great to be back, Brandon. Thank you for having me. Today we're going to talk about some different ways for down payment, just down payments in general.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
A lot of options there.
Yeah, there is.
And a lot of misconceptions as well.
That's correct. So
Excellent.
that's what we're going to talk about.
And you have Lindsey Vance in studio
I do.
as well.
Yes. She's actually Lindsey Vance Smith, but she hasn't changed her name yet.
Okay.
Yep. I'm just assisting her today. Going to piggyback off that because I work with a lot of first-time home buyers that don't really know the process or what they need for down payment and closing cost.
All right. Excellent. Yeah, I love that. Helping out, especially those renters. I want to talk to those renters a little bit today too. Get them into the home ownership game. Stop paying over the 30 to 40% that you could actually own for.
Yes.
So we'll talk about that as well. Dionnie Wynter as well. Welcome in, the attorney in the studio, immigration law. Welcome in, ma'am.
Thank you for having me. I think I'm the odd woman out. Today I'll be talking about immigration and why it's important to work with an attorney when you're going through your immigration process.
Yeah, a lot of things happening in that immigration space, a lot of misconceptions as well. That's why we started this show almost 7 years ago. There's so much bad information floating around, and if you're just looking at sensationalized stories online or wherever you're looking, there's bad information, and that's why we started this show, to be that consumer advocate, to help people understand more about their buying decisions, helping make them just a bit more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. As I always say, that's our goal. As you know, I'm the owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, and we want to help you win in your real estate deals. And we got a couple of hot listings I want to let you know about here, some great opportunities that we have here in Tampa Bay. Looking for my $1 million buyers out there. How about 4348 Harbor Point Drive? This is a property, $2 million listing of mine. Beautiful palace on the waterfront. Bring your boat, and it's a great opportunity to host awesome parties and entertaining. 4348 Harbor Point Drive in Port Richey, and the security is ultra high here. You got 2 gated gates that you have to go through before you get to this home, and it's perfect for that outdoorsman. Likes to go out there fishing and having some fun in the beautiful Tampa Bay environment that we have here. So that's Harbor Point Drive in Port Richey. Now, we also have a property in Tarpon Springs. That's a great opportunity here. 216 North Spring Boulevard in Tarpon Springs. And this interesting property that we have, beautiful photography, compliments of Fabre Frameworks, by the way. They do a great job on all of our real estate properties. 216 North Spring Boulevard, Tarpon Springs. Gorgeous property here. We had the mayor of Tarpon Springs on the show last week, and he's actually commenting, yeah, I've seen that property being built. Beautiful location, the walkability down to downtown there. Beautiful flooring upgrades throughout. Check out all of our real estate properties at PlatinumMVPTeam.com. Coming up as well, we got Dwayne Johnson. He sings Moana song to a 3-year-old boy fighting cancer in our feel-good story of the day. All right, so let's jump right into it. We got Diane Vance in the house, Fairway Independent Mortgage. We always talk about supporting the local economy, supporting the local businesses here in Tampa Bay, and you guys are doing just that, Diane.
Yeah, we are definitely doing that. Love helping people. I have some stats. Actually, this was in an article. It's on my Facebook page. Clearwater and St. Petersburg are among the markets where home prices are expected to skyrocket in the next decade, according to a recent report by Go Banking Rates. The report looked at the top 300 biggest cities in the U.S. and evaluated each market based on Zillow's one-year forecast to project their growth in home prices over the next 10 years. So everybody should think about buying now so that they will build wealth in the future.
Absolutely.
So if we know in 10 years, within the next 10 years, and it does go up every year, now is the time to act. So I want to talk about down payments. So there's a lot of misconceptions out there. So you can have a down payment from a gift from a relative or a significant other. There's zero down with VA and USDA homes in our rural areas. Matter of fact, Lindsey's husband is actually deployed in Germany right now, and so she'll be a big VA.
Thank him for our service.
When he gets back.
When he gets back, and also and of course your 401k, you can borrow against it depending on your employer. If you have an IRA, you can actually cash it in, but you want to make sure you check to make sure of any tax implications. And we're coming up at the end of the year. A lot of people start thinking about buying next year because they can use their tax refund. So there's a lot of ways to actually get the down payment. There's some zero down programs. There's some down payment assistance programs out there, but just even a normal program. You know, depending on your income, or if you're a first-time home buyer, you can get something with 3% down. FHA, you can get 3.5% down. So there's and just a regular conventional loan is 5%. There's a lot of things that we can do, even on a jumbo loan. You can actually purchase a home with 5% down and 10%, just depending on the situation. It may be a little creative in that situation, but I'm creating one right now, so very creative, but it's possible. So just depending on your situation, there's a lot of different ways to actually do that. Sellers can pay closing costs depending on how much money you put down. So sometimes it depends on the realtor helps guide that. They can actually include, closing costs in the sale. And there's just a lot of ways to get into home. And I think if I saw an article that said, in the next decade, we're going to have property appreciation, I would definitely think about buying now.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you just joined us, I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. We're talking with Diane Vance here, a local mortgage expert contributor on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And when you think about that, these articles are coming out. We know Tampa Bay, St. Pete, Palm Harbor, Clearwater, all these awesome areas to live in Tampa Bay. Lots of water, lots of 40 miles of beaches. You got
warm.
arts and warm. That's the big one. But think about it from an investment standpoint as well. Where else can you take 3%, 5% leverage a $500,000 asset and then see that not only the debt pay down, the tax incentives, but also the appreciation?
Yes, and you actually, so we're in a perfect area for that. So if you're an investor, you want renters, and we always have people moving into the area, so you're always going to have renters. And look at all the new apartments being built. So if you're an investor and you want to invest in real estate to actually, again, grow your wealth, and that's what we're looking at. This is a piece of wealth, and when we sit down with people, a lot of times, or on the phone, we try to explain it on the phone. It's a little easier in person. We'll actually kind of go over a plan for the future. It's not just about doing your mortgage. We want you to save for the future. We want you to be, have, depending on where you're at, if you're trying to save for college, we might set you up with a financial planner or something like that. So it just depends on your individual situation.
Let's talk to the renters now. The renters out there paying a lot of money towards rent. They're not realizing a lot of the gains that they should be able to with that. What's your advice to renters?
Well, on renters, you're paying so much, and you're paying a lot of money for no reason. It's just going kind of like, the drain in the sink. It's kind of going down, down, down.
That's right. That's right.
And it'd be like the bathtub where it actually fills up. So
that'd be better, right?
So we talked about, we gave I've always done a comparison on this show of about $1,200 per month, and they pay $85,000 in 5 years, and a little over $85,000, and then and it gets worse as you pay more, and a lot of people pay more rent than that. The average rent in Tampa Bay is probably about $1,300, but you can get some in different areas. But you really need to think about how you can buy. If by the time you put down your deposit, your first and last, or just first, depending on where you're renting, you could actually have almost a down payment or close to it.
Yeah.
So why not build wealth and actually go ahead and have, equity of maybe principal of $26,000 in 5 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's such an important thing to do. Let's go ahead and get a rent versus own analysis out there to our listening audience. We've had an uptick in calls since we moved over to AM 860 The Answer. We really appreciate our listening audience, our TV audience as well. We're on Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Sony TV as well. You can search Binge Networks and find our syndicated TV show as well worldwide. You can find that as well. So we really appreciate the folks that reach out. I had some great conversations this past week of people that are in that exact situation. They're renting. They heard us talking about $85,000 over 5 years for the $1,200 example of money that you're throwing away. So we want to make sure that you have an opportunity to take action, as one of my favorite mentors, Tony Robbins, always talks about. Take action. When you see that goal, you got to make some type of a movement toward that goal. Otherwise, it's just going to fly by. The seconds are going by. There's 86,400 seconds in a day, right? So we just had a bunch of those fly by. So let's have you make an opportunity to reach out. Text the word rent and the amount of rent that you're paying to our Consumer Advocate hotline number. That's 813-670-7372. Text rent and the amount of rent that you're paying to 813-670-7372. And it may be for a loved one. It may not be you. Maybe you know of a loved one that's, maybe they're younger in their career. They're starting out. They don't really have their grasp of their, their business mindset yet in their life. Be that uncle or that aunt that does that for them. Make that, take that call, reach out, and then Diane and her team is going to put together a rent versus own analysis. Correct. You want to describe that?
Yeah, it's basically how much rent and how much you can buy based on that rent amount. Please make sure when you do text or call in, make sure you do leave your email address, and so that we can actually send it easily to you. Sometimes we get them and they don't have the email address on there, so make sure you do that, and then we'll do actually analysis of how much you can actually purchase for the same amount that you're paying in rent.
Yeah.
And then we'll estimate what taxes and insurance are and that type of thing, and then we'll send that to them.
Yeah, and there's several advantages to being a homeowner, versus a renter, so if you own the home, you can actually throw cool parties there and not get kicked out. So there's a lot of other advantage than financial, and your family's going to love it better. You're going to leave that legacy for your family, and the children are going to say, oh, we are homeowners. We own this home. It's a different mindset. I think even for the children, they can pick up on that when they're 12, 13, 14 years old.
Well, they're very stable.
Yes.
It's a very stable environment then.
Exactly. Yeah.
They don't have to worry about moving and go to the same school, all that kind of stuff.
That's right. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. When we come back, more from our expert contributors here in studio today. Diane Vance, Lindsey Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Dionnie Wynter as well, Wynter Law. We're going to talk some immigration law here on the Consumer Quarterback Show coming up. All right. Stay with us. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
Thanks for listening to My Daddy's Show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. This was pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with Dancing with the Stars.
62 Who Knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance, Joe's Bar and Grill. But actually, it's our 39th week of 62 Who Knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yep. Woo! Can't remember it.
Yes. To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business card.
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections for
Battles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left hand white, and then they catch the left hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
As you're super connected. We want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to...
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. Got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step image. I love that name because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. My wife and I were just recently featured in Real Producers Magazine, and real excited about that opportunity. Whenever we have the media companies reaching out, we love doing those interviews, and it's a lot about how we give back to the community here. You can see, if you're watching our TV show version, you can see we are at the gelatin plunge. Think about kids getting to slide into the gelatin-filled pool and some of those experiences that they have on stage at Wine, Women, and Shoes event there, where I was the MC for the Wine, Women, and Shoes event, raising money. And we have another event coming up in January. I want you to save the date. This is going to be an awesome opportunity to meet two championship fighters. Got Ken Shamrock, UFC Hall of Famer and WWF legend, also going to be in town, as well as Tampa's own Antonio Tarver, 5-time world boxing champion, going to be in. We have a location still picked out. We're still determined that, but it's going to be benefiting the wounded warriors. So a lot of the veterans out there, wounded warriors. My dad was an MP in the military, passed when I was very young. So this is something that's really near and dear to our heart, helping out these wounded warriors. We're going to have tickets on Eventbrite. It's going to be an awesome business networking opportunity as well, some speaking opportunities as well. So Ken Shamrock going to be in town, Antonio Tarver as well. We're going to do a business style interview Wednesday, January 8th. Save the date. Wednesday, January 8th. It's going to be an evening event. More details to come with that. And we are back here in studio. Our goal is to help you win as your consumer advocate and also a top real estate company here in the Tampa Bay area. This segment is brought to you by Infinity Medical Institute. 10 years in the business, over 40,000 patients that have been successfully treated, and they are the experts in bio-natural hormone replacement therapy here in the Tampa Bay area, right on West Shore Boulevard. And they offer low T therapy, weight loss plans, cosmetic services like Botox, improved sexual wellness, and increased energy. Infinity Medical Institute, check them out online, infinitymedicalinstitute.com. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. And we got a great lineup today. Our mortgage expert contributors in studio, Diane, Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, as well as Lindsey, Vance. And now we're going to talk with Dionnie, Wynter. She's an attorney, local attorney here based in Tampa Bay, does some virtual stuff as well, as she mentioned. So yeah, welcome in.
Thank you for having me, Brandon. And I think the topic today is perfect because what does every immigrant want? They want to purchase a home.
Yeah.
So I think you couldn't have put the two together more so.
Awesome. Yeah, the American dream. It's that American dream of home ownership, building wealth. The pursuit of happiness is part of our Bill of Rights. In this country. So tell us about what you're seeing. What are some of the major misnomers about immigration and immigration law right now?
So I think some of the major misnomer, without getting political, has been the rhetoric.
Yeah.
The rhetoric that immigrants will take jobs or immigrants are lazy, and that is far from the truth.
Yeah.
What I do know as an immigrant myself is that we're some of the hardest working people, and we share in the American dream,
Yes.
which is what led me to the practice of immigration law,
Yes.
so that I can help people not only navigate the immigration system, but go on to realizing some of that American dream as well.
Yeah, and I think it's so confusing, even for real estate and mortgage professionals. It's I've got an EB-5 visa, I got this type of visa. I mean, where do you start, right?
Right.
It's very confusing if you don't know, if you're an outsider kind of looking in. But yeah, and growing up in a small town, I grew up in a South Florida small town, country type of town. We had a lot of migrant workers that would come and farm pick the oranges and the tomatoes and things. So there's definitely a need, big need, for immigration. And at some point, if you trace your family tree back, we're all immigrants. So at some point.
Absolutely. And I come in contact with all kinds of immigrants on a day-to-day basis, whether they're on the farm, like you say,
Yeah.
or they're the more sophisticated immigrant who's
Right.
investing in the $1 million homes or the $1 million businesses. I think my advice would be to every single immigrant is just to make sure you get the information. And that is why I love shows like this,
Yeah.
because you're giving that information to people who typically sometimes do not have the access.
That's right. Yeah. ConsumerQB.com. If you have any questions, ConsumerQB.com. That's our website. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors. We'll have Dionnie's information on the website as well at ConsumerQB.com. So let's kind of stay on that real estate track. I like that idea. If I'm an immigrant from Europe, for example, I want to buy real estate in the United States, can I just straight up do that, or do I have to have some steps before I do?
Actually, you can. In fact, they have, and not even just real estate. We have personal and commercial. In fact, the commercial real estate market is ripe for investors. And I always say, yes, there's a huge spotlight on illegal immigration. And I think where we're not focusing is that many immigrants are coming into the country lawfully via investments, whether it's in commercial property, whether it's in private businesses. So there's still a lot of immigration taking place within that realm. Yeah,
exactly. I agree. And when you look at immigration, it's that political hot button lately with the elections and the election year we're in. But if they're coming to the country the right way, they're doing the paperwork, and then unfortunately there's some situations where people, we talked about it in the green room before the show. The courts are backed up pretty bad.
Yes. So if we think about somebody that is placed in removal, I know when I use the word earlier, you're like removal. Yes.
Yeah.
A large part of my practice is deportation defense, meaning, and I'm not batting 100%, right? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So I am working with individuals that will be separated at some point, meaning mommy or daddy will be told to leave the country. That's putting it nicely.
Yeah.
And these are individuals that were born here. Some of these children were born here, but in representing the families, you have to have that conversation that mommy or daddy will have to depart.
Yeah.
At some point.
And then at some point you can start shuffling paperwork and try to get them back in. But I know it's a lengthy process. It's a lot of paperwork, a lot of money in some cases too.
As an immigration lawyer, we said it's easier to keep her.
Okay.
Or keep them.
Okay.
It's much harder to try to get somebody back into the country. I mean, lacking some error on the part of Homeland Security, it's going to be extremely difficult once somebody has been ordered removed. Not impossible, just extremely difficult to get them back into the country.
Yeah. If you just joined us, I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. We're talking with Dionnie Wynter. Wynter Law Firm is her company, and she is a legal analyst here on the Consumer Quarterback Show in the areas of immigration law. What else do we need to know? What else is out there?
I think we need to get information into the hands of immigrants, whether it's homeownership or whether it's working with an attorney when you have an immigration matter. I think a lot of immigrants exist in the gray zone.
Yeah.
Piggybacking off your show, they exist in this zone of, I'll just sit here and wait until things fall apart. Yeah. It might be that renter, they will not take action until something happens, whether it's they get detained by ICE, because I'll get the call from the families and, so-and-so was at work and there was an ICE raid and everybody was picked up.
Wow.
Mind you, we're very much aware that there was a problem way before that individual was picked up.
Yeah.
Or the person who was arrested 5 years ago on a minor possession of marijuana.
Yeah.
They've done nothing about it, but then something happens. They might be driving down the road and they get pulled over and then they get detained. And there opens up a can of worms with their immigration matters. So I think my advice would be, get that advice.
Yeah.
Go out there, schedule a consultation, go talk to somebody, even if it's a consumer advocate in the community.
Yes.
So at least you can start getting some information about your immigration matter.
Yeah, absolutely. We love the calls. We love people to call our off-air number, 813-670-7372. We can make sure we get you in touch with Dionnie and her team as well on the immigration side. Misconceptions, a lot of things that can happen. And if you don't know what you don't know, I think that's a resounding theme of this show.
That is correct. You have to go and find that information.
Yeah, find the resources, reach out. We'd love to help you out and put you in touch with Dionnie. Now, do you offer consultations for folks as well?
We do. We do offer consultations. www.winterimmigration.com is the easiest way to schedule your consultation.
Yeah.
I do a lot of traveling all over the country, so I'm not just based here in Tampa.
Yeah.
We also have an office in Jamaica as well, where we
Cool.
represent clients there. So the easiest way is to schedule your consultation online. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, I love Jamaica. I've been there a few times. Great opportunities, to travel and owning real estate in the Americas is a great opportunity as well. So if you're in that position, we'd love to help you through that process, find out how you can qualify to own real estate. Again, and that's a great point you brought up. A lot of people that are renting, maybe they're in that position. They're scared to have their credit pulled. They're scared for these things. Reach out. Let us help you here. Stay with us on the Consumer Quarterback Show. When we come back, our feel-good story of the day. Dwayne Johnson sings Moana song to a 3-year-old boy fighting cancer. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up. TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with Dancing with the Stars.
62 who knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance Joe's Bar and Grill, but actually it's our 39th week. 62 who knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember anymore. I still about Florida law.
Yes. To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and changed them.
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left-hand white, and then they catch the left-hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
As your super connector, we want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to.
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back their right. Got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step Image. I love that name because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. My wife and I own and operate a top real estate team here in the Bay Area. We would love to help you buying, selling, or investing. Get in touch with us on our hotline, 813-670-7372. That's our consumer advocate hotline number. You can call or text 813-670-7372. And again, with any of our expert contributors on the show, we have over 80 different categories, over 50 expert contributors that we bring on the show, and we help position you as a consumer. From a consumer standpoint, we're positioning our expert contributors as spokes on the hub of that financial, that business wheel, that health wheel. Each one of those spokes extending out, representing another one of our preferred partners that we can put you in touch with. Think of me as the super connector, the quarterback on the team, right? I'm going to put you in touch with whoever you might need to have a consult with, and we've got a great team. Some of our partners have been with us over 6 years now, so it's a lot of great folks available to help you with whatever type of decision you have. There's things that happen with credit. We weren't taught credit in school. We never learned that. I didn't have that class in school, and there's a lot of misconceptions, identity theft, all these different areas that we can help you with here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com. And this segment is brought to you by the Bilmar Beach Resort. The official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show is the Bilmar Beach Resort on beautiful Treasure Island, filled with fantastic and generous amenities to make your vacation that much more special. Check out the Bilmar Beach Resort. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Over 90% of their rooms are facing the beach. They've got a beach view, and you step out on some of the rooms, and you're literally on the beach. I love staying over at the Bilmar Beach Resort. They've got standing ovations going on now as well. If you haven't seen this standing ovations, you really should take a trip over to Treasure Island and check it out. They've got 10-foot sand castles, just really cool opportunity to see some of the artwork done by these artists on the beach. They're putting together these awesome looking all types of different, really unique sand castles. Very cool. Check them out online. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Call Clyde Smith. He's the general manager. Let him know the REQB sent you. All right, we're back here in studio. A couple of hot listings here. I want to let you know about this property that we've got, 706 Wellington Court in Oldsmar. This is a property that we just had freshly staged, compliments of Tina Russell with Envision It Home Staging and Decor. She's 706 Wellington Court. Beautiful property here. You got solar on the roof. You got a media room upstairs, a movie theater, and 4 bedrooms. Huge property. Awesome opportunity in Oldsmar, Florida. And another property favorite of mine is 861 Mandalay Avenue on Clearwater Beach. This property is priced below the comparables. 861 Mandalay Avenue on Clearwater Beach at $699,000, and it's a beautiful beach opportunity. You're literally 200 steps from the sugar sand beaches of North Clearwater Beach. Great opportunity, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It actually has a 3rd bedroom. We can't count it, but reach out and check out PlatinumMVPTeam.com. Somewhere sunny and 75. Okay, in studio today, we got a great lineup for you. Diane, Vance in the house, Lindsey, Vance as well. Fairway Independent Mortgage, attorney Dionnie, Wynter as well, Wynter Law here. So I want to go back to the Vance family here. So we got Diane, Lindsey. I wanted to ask you too a little bit, what was your take on some of what your mom was saying, with the down payment, a lot of the misconceptions. What are you seeing out there?
So a lot of people, they don't realize that there's assistance available, not just with the state of Florida, but the cities. A lot of the counties have their own programs, and it all depends on what they're looking for.
Yeah.
They're all income-based, and some of them actually go pretty high on income, which is really nice. I mean, they go up to the $90,000, and people don't realize that they can get assistance when you make that kind of money.
Yeah. Each municipality, Safety Harbor, Dunedin, et cetera, they're going to have their own funds, independent of state.
Correct. Yeah. And then some of them also have grants, and then depending on where your income is, if you're on the lower side, they offer additional grants on top of the assistance they already give that don't have to be paid back.
Wow.
So it really helps a lot of people out.
It does. And I think that's something where if you're in the position of, hey, I'm thinking about doing it, here's another mistake that we see happen is they start looking with a realtor. They're not pre-approved yet. They all of a sudden on a whim, I want to put an offer on that house. Their credit's not ready. Take this as a plan of action. That's maybe a 6-year endeavor, or I'm a 6-month endeavor, not 6 years.
Yeah,
not 6 years. Hey, some people might take 6 weeks. You never know.
I've had that.
Yeah. 6 months, let's plan this thing out. Let's be strategic about what we're doing, right?
Correct. Yeah. So my big thing is education. Not only do you want to find out about, what you can afford and all that kind of stuff, but sometimes you want to work on credit for a little bit, or, you may like a certain area, but you may not qualify for that area right now. However, in 6 months, you may be able to purchase in that area. So the whole thing about building wealth is we like to build a plan with people ahead of time. So most of my buyers, I work with them probably my longest buyer, I worked with 2 years before they purchased because they were on that path to getting there.
Yeah.
That's what's important. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you mention credit, by the way, we got William Crowley, the credit magician, on the show.
Which I use all the time.
Long time credit. Yeah. Great job. Been a show partner for 5 years plus, him and Jay Smith, and a couple others are, longest at Will Smith as well. When you look at that, it's sometimes the credit needs to be repaired. There's issues there on credit. There's some things you can do. You're going to spend a certain amount of money on groceries and gas anyways. Might as well charge it, pay it at the end of the month. Not all the way down though.
Yeah.
Right? 30%, 35%. So those are some of the tricks of the trade.
Correct. Yeah. You always want to pay a little bit more than what your minimum payment is. And some people, when they have collections or something like that, they go and pay them because they're getting called and they don't realize sometimes you don't have to pay them off. Sometimes they're incorrect.
It's one of the worst things you can do, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about it on the show.
Yeah.
Paying that old collection, you're bringing an old negative derogatory account current.
Yep, exactly. As soon as you answer that phone or pay that, it hits you again on your credit report, and people don't realize that.
Yeah.
They think they're improving it, and it actually ends up hurting them.
Yeah. If you just joined us, Brandon Rhymes here. We're talking with Lindsey Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And so, have you always been in the mortgage industry? What's it like to follow in your mom's footsteps? Right?
I have not always been in the mortgage industry.
Okay.
I actually started as an accountant.
Okay.
Doing taxes.
Okay.
I got really burnt out after 7 years, and then she gave me this opportunity, and I took it. I love it. I love working with people. As an accountant, you're stuck back working on the computer the whole time.
Yeah.
And a lot of it I saw, after people purchase, they go to their accountant to get things done, or after they sell a home, and you would see closing disclosures and all that kind of stuff. And I ended up getting really passionate about helping people.
Yeah.
You saw me people actually get taken advantage of because they don't get educated. So
I've heard some stories lately about, speaking about taxes, the accountant didn't do this for the past. I had one of my previous clients, the accountant didn't do a certain thing.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, 5 years later, they find out they owe $180,000. I mean, there's some stuff going on there too.
Yeah. A lot of people, when I was in accounting, we always made sure we went over the tax returns with them. Some people just sign and they're like, okay, good. And then they find out, like you said, years later, once IRS starts looking into things, that something wasn't maybe done properly, or that they didn't realize maybe they got, a 1099 or W-2 that they didn't report.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you see that. And that's a whole nother area of finance as well,
Yeah.
in terms of how you can read those tax returns and interpret those tax returns for the self-employed borrower. That we all know the game.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to show as least amount of money as possible, but then when it comes mortgage time, but I make this much money.
That's my niche, is looking at self-employed borrowers, and because I know how to read the tax returns.
And you got bank statement programs and stuff like that too.
12 and 24 month bank statement programs also.
That makes a lot of sense to me. That's a cash flow thing. If you got cash coming in, cash is king. We've heard that. Then it gets into, okay, what are you writing off? How are you structuring it for Uncle Sam?
Yep, correct. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so the down payment assistance, I think that's something that really we should reiterate a little bit here, and think about it also when a realtor gets involved with the deal. A lot of times you see, people going to their friend or their kid's soccer coach, these types of things. But if you get your realtor involved in the down payment side and you say, hey, listen, if it's a $100,000 home, for easy numbers, right? Let's say we're going to ask for 3% seller concessions. Now you've got $103,000 offer, but the seller is going to net of essentially the same thing. Now you've got an extra $3,000 to play with.
Correct. Yeah. A lot of times, especially first-time home buyers, they either have the down payment or the closing costs. They don't have everything. Yeah. So we make a plan with the realtor also and be like, all right, this is what they need. If this is the price point they're going to go in at to be able to afford the home and close on it.
Yeah. Here's a good idea as well. We talked about set up a GoFundMe account. Right. If you're a young guy, or you don't have to be young guy, whatever you're at on your pendulum of life here, right? Set up a GoFundMe account. Tell your friends, tell your family, hey, especially a young couple just getting married, hey, fill this up for us. Don't buy us plateware and silverware and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Put some money in here. Let us save up some money for down payment.
Yeah. A lot of people, instead of doing the honeymoon funds that was really big, recently, they're starting to do for down payment.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I love it, and I like what Diane said earlier too. There's a lot of different news organizations, articles coming out. Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater. We got the two best beaches in the world, St. Pete and Clearwater Beach. always top in the TripAdvisors, all these different places. So we know it's a great place to be. We know it's a great place for investors, and we know that renters are overpaying about 30 to 40%. Those are facts. Those are things that we can show you statistics, show you numbers, and make it make sense for you if you're in the area of homeownership. We want to help you with that.
Yeah, a lot of I read an article recently that in our Tampa area, whatever Tri-County area, the zip codes, it's actually cheaper to own a home than it is to rent. So it is.
I can see that for sure.
Yeah.
I guess what's the negative things about Tampa Bay? I mean, traffic they're talking about, there's some traffic stuff, but it's still getting better.
I was going to say,
I'm going to Chicago for Thanksgiving. Trust me, traffic up there is horrendous.
Yeah, there you go. Weather, traffic, crime, stay away from the south side, I hear. All right, stay with us right here. Consumer Quarterback Show. When we come back, more from our expert contributors here in studio. We're going to have our lightning round as well, where we're going to talk about top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom, and our feel-good story of the day. Dwayne Johnson sings Moana song to 3-year-old boy fighting cancer. Stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. Ian Beckles.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up. TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with Dancing with the Stars.
62 Who Knew? I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance, Joe's Bar and Grill, but actually it's our 39th week. 62 Who Knew?
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember anymore.
To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and made
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left hand white, and then they catch the left hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination.
Well, that's kind
As your super connector, we want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to.
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. Got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step Image. I love that name because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Want to help you win in your real estate deals, buying, selling, or investing. We would love to talk to you, helping our sellers profit more on the sale of their real estate properties. Got a couple of hot properties here. 5822 Schooner Way in Tampa. This is in the Bayport area of Town and Country, Tampa Bay. 5 minutes from the airport. Great opportunity to own waterfront property here. Direct bay access on a freshwater canal with a boat dock and a beautiful pool and huge lanai area as well. 5822 Schooner Way in Tampa, Florida. We're going to help you win in your real estate deals as well. 1100 South Myrtle Avenue. Now, this property is in Clearwater. Check out the photography compliments of Fairway Frameworks. I just love how they fly these drones up very high. And if you look behind you, you can see the Intercoastal Waterway and then ultimately the Gulf of Mexico right there. 1100 South Myrtle Avenue. Commercial opportunity here. This is a tear down property potentially. There's a building there, a structure, but it's most likely a tear down over 200 feet deep, 220 feet deep. A great opportunity here. 1100 South Myrtle Avenue in Clearwater, and a lot of hot listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.com. And this segment is brought to you by Brothers Easy Moving, the official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. That's Brothers Easy Moving. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, they are a first-class organization. They did a great job with my family's move to our new lake house. Brothers Easy Moving. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Every day we're going to tell you something good in our Feel Good segment.
Tell me something good.
Okay, so Dwayne Johnson sings Moana song to a 3-year-old boy fighting cancer. A 3-year-old boy who's been fighting cancer received the most incredible video message from his hero. Hiram Harris is diagnosed with acute leukemia, which is a complicated Down syndrome. He's in the fight of his life right now. One of the things that keeps him going is Disney's Moana. When Johnson learned about Hiram's situation and passion for the movie, the actor sent a personalized video to encourage Hiram to stay strong and also bring him a few smiles. Johnson wrote on Instagram, quote, "Maui makes him feel strong, according to Hiram's mama. His most important thing to say now is I strong. Yes, you are a big man. Yes, you are. Hiram, I know you're a complete stranger. I'm a complete stranger to you, who sounds a lot like your hero, Maui, only with a very large head. But myself, along with millions of other strangers who will watch this video, are sending you much love, strength, and Moana your way." So awesome story from The Rock, a.k.a. The Rock there. All right, so now it's time for our lightning round. We're going to jump into our top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom in our lightning round.
The lightning round!
I am so good at lightning rounds!
I majored in lightning round.
All right, Diane, Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, top tips, nuggets of advice.
Go to my website, dianevance.com, and get pre-qualified or pre-approved. You can just hit the apply now, and it will automatically pull up your credit report. You can see what your credit score is. If we need to work on that, we will do that. But please go ahead and stop paying rent and start thinking about owning.
Get into home ownership.
Yeah.
What percentage, I'm curious now, what percentage of people love to do an online application? I don't want to deal with it. And what percent, hey, I want you to walk me through it. Yeah.
It's probably, even if they do the online application, we still walk them through it, but then we get their name spelled right. We get their correct Social Security. We get their correct date of birth. All of that is very important.
Yeah.
So not that I'm dyslexic, but sometimes if I listen, it's like I put the numbers back or something like that. But either way, or they can call 727-647-8199. That's my cell phone. Text me, whatever, and we can take your application via, just calling you and talking to you. But most of the time, it's probably 50-50. I would say people like to go on time, online at their own time. I have a mobile app I can send them. All of us do, and it has a great mortgage calculator on it. So if they just want to kind of know what payments are, it does that same thing.
That's awesome.
Yep.
All right, Lindsey, Vance, top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom.
So my thing is loansbylindsey.com. Get educated. There's tons of articles on there, little tidbits for you. Even decorating, or if you're trying to sell a home, they have, give you really good advice on, we have blogs on there that give you really good advice on what you can do to stage your home when you're selling it also.
Nice.
So when you're getting ready to purchase or, make that move, just get educated and ask questions.
Yeah, and a staged home, the statistics show a staged home sells about 50% faster for a good percentage of money more as well if you're staging. That's a great opportunity.
Yep.
Attorney Dionnie Wynter, Wynter Law, immigration expert. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me. My top tip is consult with an immigration attorney. It doesn't matter where you are in the immigration process. It is super important to work with an attorney. Schedule your consultation at winterimmigration.com, and we'll work with you on whatever your immigration matter is.
Yeah, exactly. And with the Consumer Quarterback Show, again, kind of the feel of this show is we've got family law attorneys, we've got real estate attorneys, Frank Charles Miranda, for example, Attorney Joe Kearns on the family law side. Jason Coble is a personal injury attorney. We've got attorneys. We've got all types of great experts associated with this show, and we want to put you in touch with them. They're going to help you in that search for the truth. A lot of times it's like, hey, where is the truth here? There's the one side saying this, the other side saying that. A lot of times it's right down the middle. And there's a truth in there, and that's what you want to do. You want to look at from a consumer advocate perspective, who's on my side, who's that consumer advocate. That's us. That's what we do for over 6 years now here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in your real estate deals, helping you win with mortgage and credit improvement, all these different areas. We've got solar expert contributors on the show coming up tomorrow's episode as well. All types of great partners associated with this show, and that's the goal. We want to help you win. So reach out to consumerqb.com. Any questions, comments you have, you can submit an email form there at consumerqb.com. Also, save our hotline number 813-670-7372, and we urge you to call or text an off-air line. You're not going to be thrown on air. Sometimes people call and say, well, am I on air right now? No, you're not. 813-670-7372. So I would say for a lightning round tip, here's something that was kind of a theme for this show about planning, but it's an interesting story as well. Dr. Edward Banfield of Harvard conducted a 50-year study into the upward socioeconomic mobility of the Americas. So essentially, what can I do? What's the number one thing that I can do to ensure that I'm going to be successful? I'm going to move up that economic ladder. How am I going to be more successful in terms of economics? And that number one thing at the end of a 50-year study was long time perspective, developing what we call long time perspective. So whether you're planning to get into home ownership, you're planning a fight in the immigration courts or real estate, whatever you're planning, a successful business launch, it all starts with that long-term planning. And if you're planning, you set that goal and you think of each step up as the rung on the ladder. So you're going to take those rung on the ladder, each step up that ladder, you're going to have a goal. Okay, you're going to break it down. This is that time of year. Everybody's starting to do their goal setting. So let's do another round here. Top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom. Yeah, it's that time of year. Goal setting's here.
Yeah, and I'm actually involved in that right now. I have a whole team, and what we do is we do planning, and not just what's your mission, what's important to you. And again, we're about educating and helping people. That's where I go.
Yeah.
And I always think that if you're in whatever you're doing and you want to help people and educate them, I think that is a success no matter what business it is.
Exactly.
So that's mine.
Yeah.
We're in the midst of it right now.
Awesome. Yeah. What's your why, right?
Yep, that's right.
What's your why?
Yeah.
Why are you doing it? What's going to drive you when
That's
things
right.
get tough? That's it. Lindsey Vance.
Yeah, same thing, piggybacking off all this planning stuff. So a lot of times when we sit down with people, it's not what do you want right now or what do you want in a year? What do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah.
What do you want to, are you going to stay in this home this 5 years? Are you going to be selling it, or are you just staying for 2 years? Because that does go into, what type of loan program would be best for you, or down payment or closing costs, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of different criteria that goes into purchasing a home, and long-term planning is important.
I'm glad you mentioned the 5-year mark, because it's interesting. Again, kind of quoting one of my mentors, Tony Robbins. He talks about how people all the time we get very aggressive and very ambitious with our goals, right? So next year I'm going to do this, and this. So we overstate and we overestimate what we can do in 1 year, but we significantly underestimate what we can do in 5 years.
Yeah. Do a vision board.
It's really those small steps, right? Vision boards,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
The more that you can bring it to the front of that consciousness, it's really going to help you. So that's a great point. Attorney Dionnie Wynter.
I encourage all immigrants to come up with a comprehensive immigration plan. Plan for one person being detained. plan for the delays within our immigration system. I love that you talked about planning beyond a year. Most of the immigration process is going to take more than a year. So it's super important for families to have that comprehensive immigration plan.
Yeah, it really is. And you think about immigration, I mean, wow, it's when it gets into the news and it gets into this negative cycle that we have, especially with the mainstream media, they're polarizing us as human beings, as Americans. They're making it look like a racial, it gets into a position where it's nauseating for people to listen to. And then you don't know what the truth is. So that's why we appreciate you coming in, talking a little bit about the immigration, kind of giving us a sample of what you do. But the idea is, reach out. I would imagine each of the scenarios is going to be detailed in its own way.
Yes, because everybody has their unique immigration story, unique facts. So it's super important that you sit with someone and try to see what's going on with that person and come up with this immigration plan for them.
Yeah, exactly. And on the last note about goals, making sure that your goals aren't just these lofty goals. You want something that's going to stretch you, that you're going to reach for, but make sure they're measurable. You got to be able to measure these results and have those steps in place. So you break it down, measure it. You're going to make sure that they are going to challenge you. Then you might want to get an accountability partner, a good friend that's going to hold you to it. If you're saying you're going to go to the gym, you're going to wake up at 6:30 and you're going to be there, at least 3 days a week or whatever the number is, right? Have that accountability partner, because that's going to help you along the way. So, hey, another great show. I want to thank Diane, Vance, Lindsey, Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage. Thanks for coming in. Attorney Dionnie Wynter as well.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in and educating our listeners and viewers on immigration law. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Pack up some food or clothing, carry it with you to and from your commute, and hand it to that person that you see in need. Be a force for good in the community. There's a lot of ways that you can be involved. Donate blood, donate time, and be a force for good in the community. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter, and the Consumer Quarterback Show page on Facebook, and link up on LinkedIn. And we'll see you next time here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.